Hello everyone, welcome to the breaking news today. In the ongoing war in Ukraine, small commercial off-the-shelf drones relentlessly blow up convoy Russian troops around Pokrovsky, and custom-built loitering munitions have revolutionized modern warfare, allowing Ukrainian forces to effectively target Russian tanks and positions. In response, Moscow has deployed its own drones, sparking a technological arms race as both sides develop advanced counter-drone measures. This includes enhanced camouflage, coat cages for vehicles, and jamming technology to disrupt drone communications and video feeds. Small commercial off-the-shelf drones carrying modified ordnance and specialty-built loitering munitions have both proven to be game changers in modern warfare in the ongoing war in Ukraine. Since the early days of the fighting, unmanned aerial systems (UAS) have been employed by Ukrainian soldiers to target Russian tanks and forward positions to great effect. Moscow responded by deploying its own drones to target the Ukrainian platforms, and as a result, both sides are now working to develop counter-drone technology. It has included better camouflage techniques, coat cages added to tanks and other vehicles, and even soldiers armed with shotguns as a last resort. Yet, increasingly, it has included jamming technology to disrupt communications over a wide area, as well as directed radio waves to cut a drone operator's video feed. 2 years ago, drones began to reshape the modern battlefield, and some lamented it meant the end of the main battle tank, MBT, as the lumbering behemoths proved vulnerable to low-cost drones. But for every new weapon platform, there are efforts to counter it. Now, electronic warfare is once again reshaping the battlefield. A literal arms race is now underway as each side seems to counter the other's drones with jammers and scramblers, while in turn efforts are being made to overcome the latest anti-drone technology. This week, Russian state media reported that experts at the Sky Warrior Training Center have also developed a new mobile platform that can interfere with the remote controls of first-person view (FPV) drones across a range of frequencies. We have developed an electronic warfare system. More than 50 products have been dispatched to the front line. Our equipment has displayed its capabilities. It works well against FPV drones, including drones on offset frequencies. Our enemies are now flying on frequencies from 337 MHz to 1100 MHz. All of these frequencies are available, and we can jam them easily, a Russian specialist identified as Pastor told TASS. And claimed that Kiev's forces lack the resources to overcome the Sky Warrior's radio-electronic warfare protection. The report further suggested that Ukrainian drones were being disabled and crashed 300 to 400 meters away from the jamming equipment. They cannot get closer. The product comes in several configurations: a stationary unit for a motor vehicle and a man-portable kit for an infantryman, a box with straps weighing about 15 kilograms. The jammer developed by Sky Warrior is reported to have 3 modes of operation, including being activated manually, where it can ward off an approaching drone, triggered automatically should a drone come into range, or active all the time. Yet, it remains unclear if the jammers will impact Russian drones or other communications. Kiev has also been deploying jammers that, according to recent reports, can block about 75% of frequencies that Russia's drones currently employ to communicate with their operators. However, what has remained more challenging is countering the latest types of loitering munitions, notably the Kremlin's Lancet kamikaze drones that are entirely autonomous once a target has been marked. At the same time, Ukraine's special forces have begun to introduce new drone technology that can fly and strike targets without GPS and with limited operator input, countering the Russian jammers. The arms race of drones, jammers, and counter-jamming technology will continue, further reshaping the way modern conflicts may be fought. A series of successful hits by Ukrainian drones on Russian armored vehicles, Ukrainian paratroopers from the 46th Brigade of the Airborne Assault Troops have reportedly destroyed 3 Russian tanks with welded roofs, known as Braja tanks, according to the troops' report on Telegram. The report indicates that a batch of Russian military vehicles was destroyed in the Pokrovsky sector of the Donetsk region. Fireworks from destroyed enemy armored vehicles on the land of the Ukrainian Donbass do not stop shining, the message read. Long-term observation, careful escort, hitting, explosion, these are the components of the successful work of the UAV operators of our brigade. A video from the drone camera shows several successful drone hits on Russian armored vehicles. In a conversation with Kiev Post, a Ukrainian aerial scout commented that the video showcased the destruction of 3 Braja tanks equipped with deminers. Such tanks are used before assaults. They trample the path of other armored vehicles, he said, adding that T-72 tanks were probably affected. The value of an older Soviet T-72 can be nearly $500,000. The cost of a new T-72 tank ranges from $3 to $4 million, depending on the configuration. The military officer also added that Ukrainian paratroopers hit the last tank with a drone carrying a cumulative projectile, and then artillery fired at the tank 3 times. The aerial scout clarified that the so-called Braja tanks are tanks with a protective mesh fence mainly above the tower. They are similar to the Bond tanks, also called turtles, or even Goliath mobiles, after the common vulgarity used in Russian as a filler word, much like the English chef word. But in the latter, the protective fence is usually made of metal sheets and mainly along the contour. There, tankers are often roasted after being hit, that's why it's called Braja, the aerial scout told Kiev Post. Recently, reports have become more frequent that Russian troops are using tanks with welded roofs, called Braja tanks, in the war against Ukraine. The officer plus Ukrainian Telegram channel shared a comment by the commander of one of the Ukrainian Defense Forces tank units, who spoke about the pros and cons of such an invention by the Russians. According to him, it is impossible to service the tank Braja without welding equipment. Absolutely any breakdown, even minimal, will stop the operation of the tank. The commander called it a one-trip tank and added that one of the serious shortcomings is the problem with loading and unloading the combat kit. The military emphasized that he is skeptical about the possibility of long-term use of Brajas, the impossibility of maintenance, maneuverability. It is impossible to refuel it normally. As soon as all the fuel comes out, it will stop, he added. However, despite its primitiveness, such an invention can cause a lot of harm to Ukrainian forces under direct targeting,